This video guitar lesson is all about how to play power chords on the guitar. If you're a beginner, I'm going to start off very basic, very easy, and we'll get more and more advanced as we go through the video. Let's begin. So let's start by putting our first finger on the 5th fret of the low E string, and then you can either put your ring finger, your 3rd finger, or your pinky on the 7th fret of the A string. So it doesn't matter if you use your ring finger or your pinky, but you should learn how to use both so that you can play anything that you want to play. So this is just a 2-string, 2-note power chord, but what's great about this power chord is you can slide it down right here, and it'd be the same shape. So it'd be the same distance in frets as well. So if I'm on the 4th fret here, then I'm on the 6th fret here. If I'm on the 3rd fret here, then I'm on the 5th fret here. Wherever you move it, your fingers always do the same thing. So again, this is played on the E string and A string, and it's the same no matter where you do it, except when you get all the way to the open E string. You don't need to put your finger anywhere. You just play the E string open, but then put your first finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. So what I'm doing with my first finger is I'm not curving it like I would if I was playing, let's say, maybe a C major chord like this. If I was playing a chord like that, I have to curve all the fingers so that all the strings ring out, and I want that to happen. But with a power chord, it's only 2 notes, 2 strings, or sometimes 3, and these strings over here are not in use, so I don't want them to make any noise because it's not part of the chord. So I have to muffle them somehow. The way I do that is with this part right here of my first finger. So I put the finger like that. It's not curved, again, like playing a C chord or whatever, a G chord. It's not curved like that. It's very flat. And I'm not pressing down on the other strings to make a note. I'm just hovering my finger over them so that it'll be muffled, and all together I get a nice clean sound. There's no sound coming from these other strings. So if I didn't do that, it would sound like this. If I curved my fingers, it might sound kind of like, and that sounds terrible. And even if I concentrate my pick and only play these strings, sometimes these, just as I'm playing, these strings will start to vibrate and make just a little bit of noise, and we don't want that. So that goes away as soon as I put my first finger down. So it gets rid of all that unwanted noise. However, I do want to concentrate my pick so that I don't accidentally pick the other strings, because even though I have this finger here to keep these strings from vibrating, if I did pick it, it would make some noise, especially in certain parts of the guitar. So looking at this hand, what I'm doing is I'm not strumming like I would an acoustic guitar. And like if I was playing a C major chord, if I'm strumming like that, I'm using my arm. With this, what I want to do is actually put my wrist right on the guitar, like this, on the wood of the guitar, so it's anchored down, and then I just do a tiny little motion, just enough to hit the E and A string like this. And so the whole time I'm playing, I'm never hitting the D string or any other string. And another benefit to doing that is I'm right in position where I could just slightly move and then be palm muting to get this type of sound. And if you're not familiar with palm muting, what that is using this part of your palm and actually putting it on the strings that you're playing right up against the bridge, and you have to experiment with exactly where, because it's like a millimeter difference will give you a different sound. So see how I just move over a little bit and the sound changes. So now let's add another string and another note. So we can do the same thing, our first finger on the 5th fret of the low E string, and then our ring finger on the 7th fret of the A string, and then we're going to add our pinky on the 7th fret of the D string. So it's like this. Now let's play some power chords on some other strings. So now I'm playing a power chord on the A string, D string, and G string, and I don't want the low E string to make any noise. So I have to use some different techniques to muffle that string. So if I'm playing the open A power chord right here, like this, it is possible that the low E string might make some noise. So to prevent that from happening, what I can do is bring my thumb up over, and I'm not actually pressing down, making a note, I'm just hovering it over the string like this, just to muffle it. So when I play that A power chord, the E string won't make any noise. And again, my first finger is straight and flat and muffling the B and E string. So it may look like my first finger is playing all of the strings, but it's just D string and G string. And if you could see right here, I'm not pressing down on the B string and E string. And that is quite a difficult technique for some people, and for some people it's actually impossible. So what you could do is just play it like this, and then maybe muffle the strings with the other fingers like that. And now let's talk about how to play a power chord, let's say on the 3rd fret of the A string. Put my first finger there, and then ring finger here on the 5th fret of the D string, pinky on the 5th fret of the G string. And again, I don't want the low E string to make any noise. So what I can do is bring my first finger up just a little bit higher so that the tip of my finger is touching the low E string. And so if I don't do that, I might have this sound. But as soon as I bring that finger up there, you see it goes away. And then again, I'm going to concentrate my pick with my right hand on just the strings I want to play. Another way to play these chords is just using 2 fingers again. So let's say this one right here, instead of going like this, I could straighten out my ring finger like this, or I could straighten out my pinky like this. And now I'm going to use a clean sound and play some power chords on some other strings. So whatever strings you play a power chord on, they're always the same. First finger here, and then either this finger or this finger 2 frets ahead, except for on the G and B string. It doesn't sound right because of the tuning of the guitar. So you have to come up 1 more fret, like that. And you can add the high E string there as well, like this. And you'll notice my first finger again is touching the string above it, like that, to muffle that. When I'm on those strings, or these. So that's how I play the 3rd note there. So if I'm doing a power chord here, and I want to add this note, it's not going to be this one. So that'll be a different chord. It's this one here. But another thing I'm doing, especially with this one, to muffle these strings that are not in use, I have my palm on those strings so they don't make any sound. So I don't have my wrist in the air like this. I can do that, but it's going to be a lot harder to not hit these strings. So maybe I can make sure the tip of my finger is touching this string to muffle it. And just hope that I don't hit these strings. But whenever I can, I'm going to bring my palm down and muffle these strings. And then if I do want to do a down and up motion, I could kind of slide my palm like that. That may make a tiny bit of noise, but it's better than this type of noise. And I do have my fingers out, but that's preference. You don't have to do that. You can have them in. And you can play power chords on just the B and E string like this.